A young boy with a scaly tail is perched on a mountain top in a lone forest. Upon seeing a prey, he jumps down and completely transforms into a dragon. Next, he swoops on the rabbit and quickly captures it. Guess someone skipped breakfast and lunch. The poor rabbit begs him for mercy, but the vicious dragon is adamant about slaying it because it caught it. In no time, he slaughters the rabbit and gobbles it all, flesh and bones. A tiger has been secretly watching him, and as it gradually walks towards him, he cautiously looks upwards towards the ferocious creature. Talk about nosy neighbors. As their gazes meet, they both growl ferociously at each other. However, the dragon is still very young compared to the fully grown tiger, so he decides to flee. Baby dragon versus adult tiger? Hey, that's not fair. The striped cat is too agile for him since it quickly grabs his back. The dragon tries to stagger violently, trying hard to throw off the tiger, but the cat is far more powerful than he is, and she manages to pin him down. The tiger begins chewing his skin, so he tries to shove her away since that gave him a lot of pain. He begs her not to eat him alive, but to kill him first. Yup, sequence matters. The tiger stares at him intently, then realizes that the dragon is still a kid. To his astonishment, the striped cat transforms into a beautiful woman and then begins to lick his face. Is this a case of animagus? The dragon boy is overwhelmed and then faints. When he gains consciousness, he finds himself in a dark cave lying before the tiger. He notices that she is asleep. Plot twist. He's now the pet. When he tries to get up, he yelps in sheer pain since his leg is deeply wounded. Still, he manages to stand upright and slowly trots towards the cave opening. But before he can go outside, his wounded leg is grabbed, and he is roughly yanked back by an annoyed tiger. Escape level failed. Out of fury, he whacks the tiger's face with his tail, pointing out at his bleeding limb. The tiger is at first stunned by his rudeness, but then wrathfully overpowers him. Respect your elders, even if they bite, says who? The dragon boy is not at all intimidated. Instead, he demands food from her. When she looks at him closely, he gives her a dodge and then slips away from her clutches, claiming that she won't be eating him anyway. The tiger knows that he is right since he isn't fully right. He suggests that if she thinks he is too small, then she should feed him a lot and make him bigger. The tiger wonders why she should be feeding him. Baby dragon or freeloading roommate? He casually mentions that because of the wound, he cannot hunt and fly for too long. He feels that the tiger should save him from starvation. The tiger stares at him, then heads to hunt a nearby deer. Mother instincts, accidentally activated. Meanwhile, while waiting for food, he suddenly senses some menacing steps heading towards him. To his agitation, some hungry wolves are heading towards him, thinking that a dragon's meat tastes the best. Who started that rumor? Yelp? They have also heard that a dragon's blood can heal all kinds of wounds, and its heart can give one immortality. The dragon boy condemns them for believing such myths, but the wolves intimidate him so that he shouldn't try to escape, since they have memorized his scent. Peer pressure, but make it deadly. Suddenly, a dark shadow hovers at the cliff above him, and in no time, the big-boned tiger appears, growling ferociously at them. The dragon boy triumphantly places his leg over her, claiming that he already has her as a customer. Claiming things you didn't even pay for, level expert. The wolves sinisterly growl at her to stay away from their meal, however, she protests that the dragon is her prey. The tiger wrathfully jumps and attacks the pack of hounds. Okay, here some kindergartners are fighting for a lunchbox. One by one, she snips and snaps and pins down all the wolves. However, one of them hides on a cliff above the tiger, and when she is not looking, he growls and attacks her from behind. When you try to sneak attack, but forget she's a tiger. But the tiger quickly tackles it. There is a bloody battle between the duo, and a brutally wounded tiger drops to the ground. Tough day to be tough. The dragon sighs and realizes that she is going to pass away anyway. So when one wolf dashes towards an unconscious tiger to devour her, the dragon grabs him, wondering whether he is the pack's leader. The wolf hysterically snarls at him, demanding to let him go. Quite casually, the dragon fulfills his wishes and releases him over a deep canyon. Gravity wins again. There is a sound of a sickening thud, and when the underlings witness the fate of their leader, they instantly hurry away. The dragon boy observes that the tiger is badly injured. She glares at the peevish dragon boy who is playfully hovering over her. He mocks her for being smart enough to stay still, taunting that she clearly knew she was about to be devoured. With a mocking touch to her chin, he challenges her to come closer and convince him it's perfectly fine to get eaten by a tiger. Flirting? Insulting? Hard to tell. Grinding her teeth in fury, she lunges at him. Her voice shakes with pure anger as she declares she'll eat him right then and there. Snack time, but this time it's personal. Yet the dragon boy shows no fear. Instead, he sharply presses into her wound. She yelps in pain, and in that moment, he slips free, floating into the air with a smug grin. Dumped by a flying lizard, fantastic. He proudly calls his little stunt sweet revenge, while she glares up at him, thinking he's far from adorable. Unbothered, he explains, almost wisely, that she shouldn't get so sentimental about her food. Gaslighting, professional level unlocked. Then, with the nerve only he could muster, he demands food from her. Annoyed, she rubs at her injured throat and grumbles that he's always like this. He defends himself, claiming there's nothing else to do. He's stuck in lockdown, eating, sleeping, and being a first-rate nuisance. He reminds her that she'd gone hunting earlier and demands she lay the kill before him. When she stays silent, suspicion creeps in. Had she failed? Mission failed successfully. Elsewhere, in the shadows of the deep forest, a huge bear peeks from behind a tree, spying the dragon lad. But when it sees a magnificent white tiger trotting beside the boy, it immediately turns and vanishes into the trees. Bear's motto of the day, nope, not my business. Meanwhile, the tiger watches as the dragon draws an amusing caricature in the mud. He claims it's a picture of her, then, without missing a beat, immediately asks about the food. Nothing like a compliment immediately followed by a demand. When she doesn't answer, he snidely assumes the prey escaped her. She frowns as he smugly laments being captured by such an incompetent hunter. Regrets served cold like leftovers. He guesses her striking white coat probably makes hunting harder, a theory he tests by splashing his tail into a nearby stream to catch a fish. Predictably, the fish slips away, nature's way of saying, stay humble. Smirking, the tiger plunges her mouth into the water and easily catches a slithering fish, finally shutting down his teasing. Teamwork makes the lunch work. The two devour a refreshing meal of fish, but their peace is short-lived. Overhead, two nosy birds gossip about the dragon, pitying him for being alone and wondering if he's the last of his kind. Furious, he chucks a stone at them, scattering them with a new invention, salty dragon energy. Still fuming, he urges the tiger to leave, claiming he can't stand birds crying in his ears. She's unsettled by his sudden mood shift and grows curious about his family. But he has no answers, no memories of a pack. Orphan vibes thick in the air. Night falls as they return to their cave. As the dragon lad drifts to sleep, the tiger watches him closely. Suddenly, a sharp sound pierces the night, and she bolts upright, every sense on high alert. Outside, perched on the highest branch of a tree, sits an old owl who bluntly asks why she hasn't eaten the dragon yet. She explains curtly that he's still immature. Fine dining can wait. The owl snorts, suggesting she's just raising her own meal. He drops a heavy truth. Dragons live for 1,000 years, while tigers, at best, see 2 decades. In short, she'll die long before he's even grown. Better feast now. Meddling elders come in all species, apparently. Deeply rattled, she returns to the cave and eyes the boy, conflicted. Steeling herself, she leans down to gnaw at his bare shoulder, only to freeze when she hears muffled giggles. To her horror, the dragon lad is wide awake, chuckling at her attack, because it tickles. Busted mid-snack. He teases that he can never sleep peacefully around his predator. An awkward silence follows before she musters the nerve to ask if dragons really live for 1,000 years. He shrugs playfully, dismissing the idea as nonsense. Then, with that mischievous glint in his eyes, he questions whether she'll believe everything he says, because so far she has. To make matters worse, he casually remarks that tigers aren't the brightest, being all brawn and no brain, running around and biting into anything without thinking. His sharp words ignite a flash of rage, and with a roar, she pounces, pinning him to the ground. Congratulations, you just unlocked beast mode. She growls at him for taking liberty and spitting out filth whenever he wants. She turns mad with rage when he calls her stupid again. Insult her once, shame on you. Insult her twice, your dinner. He yelps in pain when she bites into his shoulder. He tries to shove her away, but she keeps on chewing his shoulder. He accuses her of suppressing him with her powers and highlights that this is what he is trying to call her stupid act. Nope, this is not how you make friends. When she doesn't budge, he finally gives her a hard kick on her stomach to push her away. Next, he slashes her with his whip-like scaly tail and jeers at her for not being able to maintain her sanity. Problem solving. Medieval edition. He deduces that he won't be able to stand if he stays with her. So when he tries to slip away, the tiger grabs his tail and feebly admits that she doesn't know anything about dragons. She meant, "You're not quitting this toxic relationship yet." An astonished lad turns around, wondering what good it will do to her upon learning about him, as in the end, she will devour him. Knowledge is power, or a snack recipe. He touches his raw shoulder wound and then smears some blood on her face mischievously. Still, he decides to reveal one thing to her, and then he whispers in her ear that he is not a kid. Trust issues? Nah, just dragon humor. The tiger is stunned to hear that shocking revelation. She wonders whether he is still an infant. "Ma'am, the math is not mathing." He looks at her, deeply annoyed, stunned at her stupidity. The tiger's brain cells left. 0. Out of nowhere, a stampede of four-legged creatures bursts through the jungle. While the dragon lad watches from the sky, the tiger skillfully grabs one deer from the fleeting herd and pins it down. She quickly squeezes out its blood, thus killing it. Talk about fast food service, literally. Suddenly, the dragon lands beside her. In no time, they enjoy warm deer meat. He is curious when he sees her licking her paw. Meanwhile, I'm still figuring out how to eat pizza without getting sauce on my nose. She reveals that this is to mask her scent from the prey. He touches her body and claims that her fur is so beautiful. The tiger is struck by lightning, and she warns him not to touch her again. Consent matters, even in the jungle, bro. He guesses that she is restraining him because he hit her weak spot. He doesn't stop and keeps on ruffling her soft stomach. Next, he affectionately rubs her chest, trying to figure out her heart's position. Bro out here trying to perform surgery without a license. His touch is sending severe shockwaves inside her body as she fidgets in discomfort. Next, he strokes her neck, guessing that even that is her weak spot. To his amazement, the huge tiger rolls insanely on the ground, triggered by his intimate touch. Warning: dragon hands come with automatic tickle mode. He smiles and guesses that his touch is making her feel good. The white tiger purrs helplessly while still lying flat on the ground. Suddenly, they hear some heavy paw steps stealthily approaching them. Nothing ruins cuddle time like uninvited guests. When they turn around, they see a huge, ferocious tiger appearing from the bushes. The white tiger roars at the emerging tiger menacingly. Meanwhile, the dragon lad quickly plucks out the leftover deer meat to snack on while watching an upcoming bloodthirsty battle. All right, Netflix and popcorn time. The white tiger snarls at the intruder, warning him to stay out of her territory. The intruding tiger claims that the territory will become his after that day. Soon, both jump and wrestle with each other fiercely by using their sharp claws and pointed canines. The ever-mighty white tiger quickly overpowers the intruding tiger, howling and biting at it brutally. Never challenge someone who has snacks mid-fight. The intruder instantly surrenders and begs her to stop. The white tiger releases him, and the wobbly and shaky tiger tries to get up on his fours. In no time, the visiting tiger turns into a handsome young man. And also, the frog turns into a handsome prince when kissed. Some Disney vibe. He lauds her strength and reveals that earlier he was intending to steal her prey, but then he gave up. Next, he gives her an open invitation to mate with him. The dragon lad doesn't like that blaring offer a bit. Imagine getting friend-zoned by a tiger in front of your lunch. The tiger man expresses his desire to expand her bloodline. He hopes that even the white tiger wants to leave her descendants behind. The white tiger ponders deeply, realizing that his offer isn't that unreasonable. Girl, blink twice if you're being peer-pressured into parenthood. Noticing her partial compliance, the tiger man insists that they should hurry. However, a frowning dragon lad reminds her that she is raising him. The tiger man suggests that the dragon lad can always be food for their children. Dear, you are not here to be babysitted, but to be fine-dined upon. The dragon lad sneers at him, then points out to her that the tiger man was defeated by her. So if his weak blood mixes with her strong blood, then even her blood will get contaminated. He advises her to choose someone stronger than herself. Love is blind, but genetics ain't. The white tiger finds his advice quite feasible. Even the tiger lad realizes that if he is stronger, then together they will bear mighty kids. He decides to train more and return much more powerful. Meet Dragon, a promising public influencer. However, the dragon lad doesn't want him to return. Soon, the visiting tiger vanishes in the bushes. When the duo is alone, he reprimands her to think before taking any step. The tiger is like, "Yup, and you are?" The white tiger was only thinking about leaving a lot of offspring behind her so that a lot of lives would be connected together. He stares at her disapprovingly and declares that predators are like that. She wonders if dragons think differently. No, they are more manipulative. The dragon lad curtly declares that he doesn't want to leave any of his traces behind, and everything will end with him. She stares at him, concerned, wondering whether he hates dragons. He makes a startling revelation that he despises himself for living like a dragon. Ro is growing through a self-evaluating phase. When she expresses curiosity, he cryptically refrains from giving any further explanation. He feels that the whole idea of leaving behind descendants is bizarre, and he can never do such a thing. She explains that continuing the lineage has to be done for one species. Imagine getting a TED Talk on family planning from a tiger. Out of the blue, he jumps on her, catching her off guard. He reminds her that she is supposed to eat him one day. He pins her down and strokes her. Well, that escalated from National Geographic to soap opera real quick. In no time, the white tiger lies on the ground purring peacefully. The dragon lad sits beside her, staring at her with a smile first, and then his face turns gloomy. Mood swing. Activated. Elsewhere, a huge egg cracks open, and a newborn dragon plunges out of it. The parent dragon reveals that it is a boy, and even though it is quite small, the little one is shocked to learn that his parent intends to gobble him up. Talk about welcome to the family. Instantly, the huge dragon swallows the whole baby alive. A terrified dragon lad wakes up abruptly from his sleep. He coughs violently, holding his neck. He is relieved to learn that the whole gruesome scene was a nightmare, and then finds the white tiger snoring peacefully beside him. Meanwhile, the tiger's dreams are sponsored by unlimited buffets. He quickly comes out of the cave and finds out that it is raining cats and dogs. But he doesn't pay any heed and keeps on trotting along, and then changes into his dragon form. Oh, rain is for the romantics, but gravity is for me. He soars up in the sky and then hears some faint chirping sounds coming from a nest on top of a mountain. He finds 4 baby birds crying for their mother. He picks one of them and opens his mouth wide to swallow it, but then he thinks otherwise and puts the baby bird back into its nest. Character development, plus 10 points. He instantly dashes through the sky and then perches gloomily on a mountain ledge, trying to drown his sorrows in the downpour. On the other hand, the white tiger wakes up from her slumber and is perplexed to see the dragon lad missing. She quickly comes out of the cave and is stunned to see the heavy downpour. Mother Nature, you thought you could escape me by hiding in the cave? Quite anxiously, she transforms into her beastly form and races through the dense forest. She searches for the dragon lad here and there but fails to find him. He suddenly finds a beaver sheltering under a log. The beaver hisses at her in defense. Beaver is like, don't look at my size of the body, but the size of my teeth. The tiger inquires whether it has seen a dragon. When the beaver scowls at her menacingly, she explains that she doesn't intend to attack. Yup, right now I am in the search mode. The beaver then points its tail towards the north. She frantically climbs up the mountain and finds him perched on a tall mountain ledge across a deep canyon. She furiously approaches him, and when he turns to face her, he is completely drenched in water. He looked like a soggy, miserable potato chip. She reprimands him for vanishing without telling her. He quickly steps down and mischievously blames her for not watching him properly, since he is her prey. This lad is the master of gaslighting. Frustrated to the core, the white tiger grabs him and heads home despite his pleas. He insists that he can walk himself, but she doesn't listen and stops only when she reaches her cave. Next, she shakes her body violently to dry herself and then pulls him closer to herself, explaining that he has to be kept warm. He stares at her wide-eyed and then rests his head against her soft body. First prize for the world's rumpiest cuddle. He cuddles closely to her and mentions the horrific nightmare he had earlier. He reveals that in that malicious dream, he was eaten by a dragon. The tiger cannot believe her ears, but he explains that dragons are die-hard cannibals who even see newborns as food. Family dinners must be really awkward. The tiger cannot even think about devouring her own race. The dragon lad claims that the result of this heartless cannibalism is the extinction of dragons. Dragons, great at flying, bad at family planning. The white tiger declares the dragons as an idiotic species. Out of sympathy, she begins licking her face, but he gets irked quickly. The tiger is only trying to console him, but he doesn't approve of it. Instead, he asks her to cuddle him up again to make him warm. Boundaries? Never heard of them. She smiles at him and then engulfs him in a tight embrace. Elsewhere, a humongous and ferocious dragon is shown hovering over a mountain top, along with 2 sinister vultures. Plot twist. It's family reunion time. One day, when the white tiger is taking a bath, the handsome tiger visits her again and wonders whether she has already eaten that annoying dragon. He tries to be chummy with her, but she avoids him. He doesn't get the signal and keeps on following her, when suddenly a long scaly tail slides around his neck and tries to choke him. Bro thought it was a love hug. Nope, it's a chokehold special. The dragon lad angrily demands an explanation for his sleazy acts. The young tiger is surprised to see him alive and claims that he is just fooling around with her. The dragon lad frowns and pulls him apart, declaring that if he is just here to waste time, then he must leave. Something is burning. No, not on the stove. The young tiger is here for a special purpose, since he wants to warn him about the presence of another female dragon in these areas. He adds that he has heard the news from the migratory birds, so it is 100% authentic. At first, the dragon lad appears shocked, but then he quickly refuses to believe the young tiger's piece of bird gossip. When you realize Twitter rumors exist even in the jungle, the young tiger admits that he hasn't even seen the female dragon himself, but then he makes a shocking revelation that the dragon has 4 horns and whiskers. The dragon lad frantically inquires about the location of the flying beast, to which he mentions the southeastern region. He quickly grabs the white tiger's hand and begins to tug hard, urging her to flee with him. Bro really said, "Pack your bags, we're ghosting this place." She wonders where he wants to go, but he has no idea, only that he wants to escape somewhere distant. She curtly proclaims that it is perilous to leave her own territory. He retorts that staying here will be more dangerous. "But dear, you are in danger, not the striped cat." The dragon lad claims that it is in his blood to travel around. Still, the young tiger is curious about why he is trying to run away from his own species, as he can always continue his lineage with the female dragon. But the dragon lad assumes that the young tiger is only suggesting that so that his kind can have more food. According to him, it's not matchmaking, it's meal prepping. He urges the white tiger to leave the place immediately, but the young tiger is not ready to let his romantic interest go that easily. He is certain that at some point in time, she will become his partner. The dragon lad points out that there are other tigers in the jungle, but the young tiger insists on having the incredibly strong and beautiful white tiger. Somebody get this man a dating app already. She is speechless while the dragon lad frowns. Suddenly, he proposes a contest to the young tiger. He points at a tall mountain ledge and states that whoever climbs its summit will win. But after climbing, will anyone have the energy to claim the prize? The young tiger reminds him that he should not cheat by flying towards it. He readily agrees and declares that if he wins, he may take the white tiger. The young tiger is confident that he can never lose to a wingless dragon. Someone's overconfidence is oozing out, literally dripping. Soon, the match starts, and an overconfident young tiger quickly rushes to climb the crag. But he is thoroughly alarmed when he sees that he is the only doofus who is grinding himself, as there are no signs of the dragon lad around him. He lets out agonizing screams upon learning that he has been doped by a kid. Robot catfished, literally. The white tiger scolds him for running away from the match. He aloofly trots on, mentioning that he never had any intention to compete with that doofus tiger. The white tiger angrily stomps her feet, refusing to move any further. When your GPS says recalculating route out of pure spite, she declares him a selfish brat. When he expresses his anger towards her remark, she reprimands him for suggesting a match and then walking away from it. The dragon kid explains that he created all that drama just to get rid of that annoying tiger. Not to be blamed, he is only following the law of the jungle. He displays a nonchalant behavior with no remorse for lying. He mentions to her that she doesn't need to come along in the first place and could have stayed with her supposed mate. In this way, he would have been relieved from her clutches. Someone's feeling spicy today. Next, he turns around, slithers his scaly tail around her, and accurately emphasizes that she might not want to know how dragons behave. According to him, fighting and winning are not all about strength, and he thinks quite differently from that of a doofus tiger. The white tiger loses her fuse and starts chewing on his tail, which makes him yelp in pain. New fear unlocked, emotional damage and tail trauma. Their bickering continues when an eerie swishing sound passes them. Instantly, the white tiger releases his tail and looks around in sheer alarm. Even the dragon lad is bewildered to hear a threatening rustling sound coming from the forest. Mother Nature just hit shuffle. The tiger picks up a scent and becomes alert to an upcoming threat. She cautiously walks forward, followed by the dragon kid. She growls fiercely in defense, but suddenly, a huge snake-like body slithers towards the back of the dragon. Nature's version of surprise hug attacks. A great snake gazes sinisterly towards him, and then abruptly abducts him. Before the white tiger can react, it has already fled, taking the dragon along with it. The white tiger frantically runs in that direction but is obstructed by a massive waterfall. When life gives you snakes and waterfalls instead of lemons, the snake brings the dragon kid to the bottom of the waterfall and wraps its body tightly around him. In a shocking revelation, it addresses him by his real name, Hekidu. It appears that both are acquainted, as the huge snake proclaims that he has always wanted to see him. Family reunions hit differently when you're tied up. The great serpent observes that he has been doing quite well and has even grown a bit. Hekidu wriggles violently and urges the serpent to let him go. However, it refuses to do so, as then Hekidu will flee again to some distant place. Bro just wanted a quick, see ya, not a whole hostage situation. So before he slips away, the great snake opens its large, cave-like mouth with pointed, venomous fangs. However, it stops short when he hears a menacing growl rapidly approaching them. It is astonishing at the persistence of the white tiger, who had crossed all the hurdles just to reach Hekidu. When someone is ready to die for you, marry her already. But as soon as she gets closer, she suddenly squirms and then collapses. In no time, she wobbles and falls flat on the ground. The serpent triumphantly declares that its poison is doing its job. Achievement unlocked, most toxic relationship. Hekidu watches in horror as a frail white tiger trembles incessantly and then drops unconscious. A joyous serpent suggests that now they can feast upon her. A stunned Hekidu quickly regains his senses and then slips out from the slithering reptile's grip. Plot twist. When dinner fights back, next he transforms into a huge dragon and squashes the serpent's head with his huge talon claw. He fiercely inquires whether there is a way to cure the white tiger. The serpent is in awe of his cosmic size, but Hekidu insists that it must answer his question first. Nothing like a little casual head smashing to start a conversation. The serpent is surprised at his intention to save the deadly beast, even though she planned to eat him. In reply, the dragon scratched the snake's head with his sharp talon. Even the snake is clueless about the white tiger's condition despite getting her poisoned. The snake has short-term amnesia. When Hekidu pressures it more, it expresses its helplessness against the situation. Hekidu releases the serpent and dejectedly heads towards the unconscious beast. The snake cannot understand its bizarre affinity towards the striped beast. Some dudes simp hard, even for tigers, but Hekidu ignores her and presses her hand with his own. He points out that if the serpent can see his immense concern for her, then he should try to help him out. The serpent ponders while gazing at him and then blurts out about the one possible solution. The brain cell is activated after 3 business days. Next, it mentions that Hekidu's blood may help her. Now he is aware of the myth that a dragon's blood is omnipotent, but still, he refuses to believe that fallacy. However, the dragon reasons that when he first bit into him to catch him, the poison was ineffective on his body, although he waited for that to happen for quite a long time. Snake. Imagine biting a rock for 3 hours straight. Then it tried repeatedly, but all its endeavors failed, so in short, dragon's blood is resistant to a serpent's venom. Hekidu is not convinced because that doesn't mean that his blood will heal her. Even the serpent is not sure because it doesn't have any proof. Medical degree? Nah, vibes. Still, it urges him to take a risk. Hekidu chomps down on his claw, and soon it is dripping with dragon's blood. He quickly positions the white tiger and forces her to drink his blood. Next he sucks up some of his blood and then places his mouth on hers. He forces her to swallow the blood. He repeats the same process a couple of times more. Emergency CPR. Caveman edition. The serpent is jolted by a lightning bolt at such a peculiar sight, so when he has poured sufficient blood into her mouth, the serpent stops him from doing so. The serpent is positive that if dragon's blood truly antagonizes his poison, then she will reawaken soon. Plot twist, she's just pretending to get free snacks. Suddenly, there is a distinctive howling of a wolf, and the serpent predicts that night has already fallen. When Hekidu gets a little worried, the serpent who has taken a human form assures him that everyone knows about her living in the basin beneath the fall, so no one would dare come to her territory so easily. Next, she is quite intrigued by the relationship between the dragon and the white tiger. She ships it harder than Amazon Prime. She guesses that the white tiger holds a special place in his heart since he wounded himself just to protect her. He frowns at her and begins to dash away from that place. The serpent is surprised at him for leaving the white tiger to her mercy, but he warns her menacingly that if anything happens to her, then he will rip her slithering body into 2. When a dragon threatens to turn you into spaghetti noodles, you listen. The serpent stares at him, upset, but as he soars along the waterfall, she smiles, realizing that he hasn't changed a bit. Boys will be boys, especially dragon boys. The white tiger is still lying unconscious when a slick tongue tickles her abs. She twitches uncomfortably and finally opens her eyes. She sees a huge serpent head greeting her pleasantly. Nothing like waking up to a giant lizard giving you a spa treatment. She is quite alarmed and quickly transforms into a beast. But the serpent squeals in joy since the antidote to her poison actually worked. The white tiger furiously growls at her, demanding to know the whereabouts of Hekido. First question after waking up: "Where's my dragon?" Not even good morning. The slithering serpent takes her humanoid form and then mischievously declares that he tasted so great. The white tiger cannot believe her ears, but the serpent casually explains that is why she caught him in the first place. The white tiger becomes upset and depressed. When your kidnapper roasts your friend and compliments the flavor. The serpent is fully enjoying her condition and dejected expressions. She pokes fun at her by pitying her. The white tiger glares at her and threatens to rip her whole body apart. Oops, the real tigress has awakened. She madly pounces on the serpent's scaly lower body and begins gnawing it. In a fit of rage, the scaly reptile explains that she was just pulling her leg. She gloomily gazes at her savagely bitten tail. Pulling a leg? More like losing a tail. Dolefully, she looks up and makes a startling revelation that she raised Hekido. She explains to a puzzled white tiger that when she found him, he was slightly more than bite size. At that time, she didn't gobble him up because of his small size. Tiny tots never fill up. The serpent watches her with interest and then affectionately licks her face, claiming that she is quite similar to her. The serpent is certain that Hekido would be proud of the fact that he has been raised by two like-minded individuals. A confused white tiger rubs her scratched foot and remarks that she can never truly decipher his feelings. Deciphering dragon emotions equals harder than calculus. The serpent advises her to observe his tail movements. Normally, it is always moving back and forth gradually, but when he is angry or threatening, then he viciously moves it up and down. So like sign language, there is tail language as well. She is about to reveal his other moods when out of the blue, two dead wild boars drop in front of them with a thud. Talk about food delivery services. Instantly, a tail swipes eagerly in front of a startled serpent, and an anxious Hekido jumps on the white tiger. Both stare at each other silently for many moments. An amused serpent watches the scene with a quirky smile and then interrupts their moment by urging him to move along. Nothing kills the mood faster than third-wheel commentary. Just like she predicted, Hekido's tail begins to swerve up and down violently, since he is under a fit of rage. The poor lad struggles to stand upright, but is keen to flee the place as soon as possible. A concerned white tiger suggests he take some rest. Bro was ready to run a marathon with half a lung. He immediately refuses, claiming that they don't have time for that. Even the serpent agrees with the white tiger because she wonders where he will rush to in such a feeble state. She guesses he won't even be able to make it outside the basin. Spoiler, he trips over a rock 3 steps later. An annoyed Hekido tells her to zip her mouth. But the serpent loves to babble and makes another wild guess that it appears he has been hunting. Instantly, she picks one of the boars and gobbles it in one take. True friends steal your food without asking. After she is sated a little, she lauds him for having some tactic. The white tiger is astonished to learn that the dragon lad is called Hekido. The serpent grins and explains that those who are precious are given special names. Dragons get epic names. Humans get Bob or Tom. The white tiger is baffled to learn that one can actually name their food. The cunning serpent hadn't even shown him a bit that he was her prey, otherwise he would have fled before getting to a considerable size. Still, she cannot help but wonder why the white tiger is so close to him. Plot twist, bonding over who almost ate who. When she appears puzzled, the serpent points out that one wouldn't have tried so hard to help someone they didn't care about without taking care of their own life. The white tiger gazes affectionately at a nearly unconscious Hekido, who has a bruised face and hand. She realizes that she still cannot comprehend his thoughts at all. She expresses her curiosity about why reptiles eat each other. Quite casually, the serpent explains that it is an unavoidable ability. This is because the dragons were very arrogant creatures who looked down upon other creatures. Dragons, ancient, wise, and absolute jerks. For this reason, they never allowed the birds to share the sky and ridiculed the beasts who dwelt on the ground. Soon, a time came when their behavior became intolerable. Some of the smart birds spread a rumor that eating a dragon's heart will make one immortal. Fake news level, legendary. In no time, the dragons were hunted and devoured by other beasts. The other animals realized that the dragon's meat tasted the best. Devastated, the dragons were unable to land on the ground to hunt for food and began to eat their own kind in the skies above. Imagine losing a fight because you tasted too good. As they were banished from the earth, their lineage shortened, and their big fat ego prevented them from pleading to be allowed to coexist once again. For this reason, the dragons have become extinct. The white tiger is deeply saddened by the serpent's gruesome story and feels a wave of pity for young Hekido. Moral: stay humble or get eaten. She observes that he is fidgeting in his sleep in sheer discomfort and guesses that he might be having a nightmare again. She quickly transforms into her beastly form and cuddles him closer to herself. He slightly opens his eyes and buries his face into her soft fur. Soft fur equals instant nightmare cure. The next morning, when they are about to take off, the serpent silently warns her not to mention the fact that she told her about his tail movements. Hekido overhears her and frowns deeply. He quickly grips the white tiger's waist and warns the serpent not to pollute her mind with her gibberish. Too late, bro. She's already subscribed to the gossip channel. The white tiger stares at the vast blue sky in sheer awe. Soon they land on a clearing, and he proudly declares that no tiger can do something that amazing. She smiles and then unconsciously watches his tail curl up. Tail spoilers: 100% accurate emotional weather report. He urges her to move forward. The strange dragon, accompanied by a pair of eagles, lands in the basin, wondering about a creature. The eagles assure her that it lives here. The dragon then turns into a slick female dragon and lands on the ground. Plot twist: she lands, but forgets dragons are super bad at parallel parking. The serpent watches her from her cave, and the dragon senses some presence inside the cave and heads towards it. The serpent grins at the sight of the most unexpected guest. The dragon girl doesn't smile and directly inquires whether a dragon has visited this place. First rule of Dragon Club: never smile at snakes. The serpent gives a dodged reply. The dragon girl wonders about his whereabouts, and the serpent recalls that Hekido was heading west as he didn't want to run into someone specific. Nevertheless, she mentions that he headed west, where lost dragons and bad decisions go. The she-dragon refuses to believe her since she is certain a snake can never tell the truth. The snake is curious that if she doesn't trust her, then why is she asking for her help? The she-dragon menacingly transforms into a fierce beast and viciously attacks the serpent, intending to eat it. Because nothing says trust issues like instant murder. The slippery serpent swiftly swooshes away and then plops into the water basin. The she-dragon follows suit and is about to take a massive dive, when suddenly the serpent appears from the water, viciously opening her fanged mouth to rip off the dragon. Nature's version of a surprise party: wet, wild, and painful. She twists herself around the dragon's body and begins to bite its neck. The dragon lifts her tail, having a protruding horn on its end, and then pierces it on the serpent's head. An injured serpent hangs limply from her body. Moral of the story: bring scissors to a snake fight. Instantly, the dragon crushes the snake's head, and the latter transforms into her humanoid form. When in sheer agony, she blurts out Hekido's name. She claims that the dragon lad is hers, as the she-dragon already had her potion. So when the latter protests that her portion was smaller, the serpent thwacks her with her mighty tail. The she-dragon snarls and whines at her madly. The serpent taunts her for being a whiner and challenges her to take away Hekido by force. Meanwhile, Hekido's just somewhere with his date eating snacks. The she-dragon stares at her menacingly and then tries to chomp off her tail. The serpent watches her thoroughly amused, but shockingly, her lower body is mercilessly ripped off. After some time, a victorious she-dragon appears from the basin, defeating the serpent. Achievement unlocked: Snake Slayer. She gazes at the thriving waterfall and declares it to be a nice place. She observes that it is rocky, but the water seems clear and clean. She decides to dwell in that place and turns around to seek approval from her accomplice eagles. Can they go against you, lady? The eagles have taken their humanoid form and addressed her as Master Shinsui. She is quite eager to meet Hekido. One of her accomplices expresses curiosity about her eagerness. Translation: girl, you're down bad. She proclaims that she would like to live with him like they did in the distant past. They encourage her to do that. They seek her approval to continue their search, and she readily allows them. Meanwhile, in some faraway land, both Hekido and the white tiger are merrily continuing their journey, completely unaware of the hot mess brewing behind them. Elsewhere, a leopard is strolling carrying a baby fox in its mouth. Suddenly, another leopard follows him. Out of sheer fury, the first leopard drops the fox, and the poor thing rolls away. Bro thought he was in a bowling tournament. The baby fox calls the following leopard mom, who roars at the kidnapper. She snaps at him for taking away the baby fox, but the latter growls at her for protecting it. He reminds her that she is a leopard while that baby is a fox. DNA test needed ASAP, but the she-leopard ferociously claims that the fox to be her child. So when the kidnapper leopard threatens to kill the baby fox, the she-leopard quickly covers it with her paws. The mad leopard tries to attack her in a fit of rage, but is shoved away by the mighty white tiger. And that, kids, is why you don't skip gym classes. The leopard warns it to move away, but she refuses. Furiously, the leopard wonders why she is meddling in his affairs. Smelling foul play, the white tiger refuses to budge, and soon a bloody tussle takes place between the two beasts. Somebody call animal control, or at least get popcorn. They both pounce, bite, and scratch each other violently. The leopard intimidatingly hisses at her, but then spots the she-leopard caressing the baby fox. He immediately dashes towards them and swipes away the baby fox with his jaws. This male lunatic is strictly against adoption. He is about to flee with his prey when a scaly tail swishes across his face. Next, he is thwacked so hard that the baby fox slips away from his mouth and is neatly caught by none other than Hekadu. The leopard staggers and loses his balance, only to be overpowered by the white tiger. Leopard.X has stopped working. She viciously warns him not to harm the she-leopard and the baby fox. The leopard growls faintly, but the cheeky dragon lad chips in that if he does that again, then they all will feast upon him. The leopard surrenders and walks away. Smart choice, buddy, smart choice. Hekadu condemns the white tiger to refrain from meddling in others' affairs. She reminds him that even he has his fair share of meddling. He is about to retort when the little fox barks merrily on seeing his mother leopard. The little fox is like, "You can continue after I reunite with my mother." The duo stares in daze at the beautiful display of affection between two entirely diverse creatures. The she-leopard guesses that they might be finding it hard to digest. She sighs and reveals that the sinister male leopard killed all her children of her species, because the children belonged to another male. This just turned into a soap opera real quick. He was blinded by jealousy and wanted his own children. Then she came across the baby fox, who was curled up next to his dead mother. She felt pity for the little creature and didn't have the heart to leave him behind. Adoption papers pending. Hekadu is astonished because both the leopard and fox are entirely different creatures, but the leopard insists that, despite the differences, all she knows is that this little child needs her care. The leopard makes a wild guess that even Hekadu and a white tiger are together for some reason. Plot twist. They're just stuck with each other at this point. The night gets inkier, and it can be seen that both the leopard and the baby fox are curled up peacefully, when suddenly the male leopard returns. He stares at the duo sinisterly and has the full intention to attack them. Bro didn't get the memo. No villain arcs after bedtime. Out of the blue, he is slashed by a scaly tail, and instantly the two heroes appear in front of them. Hekadu menacingly reminds him about his early warning. The terrified leopard tries to escape, but is immediately pounced on and devoured by the duo. Guess who's dinner now? After having a feast, they both sit on a rocky ledge for rest. When the white tiger notices his blues, she stealthily approaches him and nudges him affectionately. Free therapy session incoming. After that, she settles down beside him. A stunned Hekadu stares at the gorgeous tiger woman and then unintentionally licks her shoulder. She instantly looks at him in surprise and then caresses his snout. Congratulations, you're now legally married in tiger culture. Mischievously, he grabs her arm between his powerful jaws. Furiously, she snatches away her hand, while he stares at her amusingly. He proposes that they should find a way to extend her lifespan, and feels that someone who has already enjoyed longevity might know a way, because living forever sounds cooler than therapy bills. The tiger is perplexed because she is clueless about what to do with an abnormally long lifespan. A shocked Hekadu reasons that surely she doesn't want to die. When he observes her anxiety, he quickly shuns the idea since it is not necessary to go into complexities at the moment. Finally, someone said, "Let's not overthink it," and meant it. It starts snowing, and the whole forest is covered in a white blanket. Passing through a stormy blizzard, the white tiger, carrying a half-asleep Hekadu on her back, searches for a warm and cozy shelter. Thankfully, she spots a small cave opening and quickly digs out the accumulated snow. After clearing the cave, she places him inside and urges him to wait here. He quickly grabs her tail and inquires about her leaving the cage. She explains that she has to find food. "He seems like a kid in a kangaroo pouch to me right now." He quickly tells her to catch something small. As she walks alone in the snow, a childhood memory strikes her in which she is curious about her mother's unique white color compared to other tigers. Her mother had explained that their white bodies blended perfectly in the snow. nature's invisibility cloak, Harry Potter, who. Also, the white tiger's name is revealed for the first time in the story, which is Hakurei. Soon she spots some mountain yaks grazing nearby. She quickly hides behind a mound of snow and positions herself. Mission: Impossible Fur Edition. Another memory strikes her in which her mother had mentioned that they didn't need to chase their prey. She follows her mother's instructions by simply waiting for the right time and chance. She creeps forward and quickly pounces on the black yak. Yak, why does it always have to be me? She grabs her prey and drags it through the heavy snow with much difficulty. Unfortunately, a huge black beast spots her and begins to pant hungrily. It swiftly dashes towards her and attacks her. New challenger unlocked. Hangry Bear. Hakurei fiercely protects her kill from the huge black bear, but the vicious bear gives her an ugly gash on the stomach. Hakurei doesn't give up and hisses at him menacingly. The raging bear stands up to make a mighty attack on her. Somebody call animal control, or at least Jerry Springer. Her mother's voice echoes in her ears, warning her not to get closer to hungry bears since they will attack without any regard for their safety. A dejected Hakurei surrenders the yak to the ravaging bear. Suddenly, droplets of blood taint the white snow beneath her, and she remembers the wound on her stomach. Are you sure those are not tears of distress? Again, her mother's shadow whispers to her to wash the wound with some clean water and get plenty of rest. Also, she shouldn't lick her wound too much since that would widen the injury. Mother's advice: no DIY surgery, thank you. As Hakurei trots forward, she spots a flamingo, which is about to take flight when it spots her. But she quickly lunges forward, takes a huge leap, and grabs it. Meanwhile, Hekadu has already fallen asleep due to the immense cold when she reaches the safe abode. She places the dead flamingo in front of him. Hekadu frowns, calling her slow. He urges her to leave that and cuddle up to him since he is feeling cold. Bro acting like he's ordering at a drive-thru. One cuddle, no onions, please. Hakurei's face distorts in sheer rage, and she begins ripping and snapping apart the bird's flesh. Suddenly, her mother's voice tries to pacify her, and she has a flashback of her mother pulling her away from her sibling when she was a cub. Today is a day of repeat telecasts. Stay tuned. At that time, she protested that her brother bit her first, but her mother thumped her little head with her mighty paw, calling her a strong-willed child. She instructed her not to let her emotions get the better of her and that she must always pay attention to her surroundings. Translation: Focus, child. Drama later, survival now. At present, a wide-eyed Hakurei stares at the shuddering, weak dragon and feels a wave of pity for him. She quickly rushes to him and cuddles him towards her body, wrapping her cloak around him. The blizzard gets severe as night falls, so both the beasts huddle to each other in that long freezing night. Two popsicles trying to survive together. Hekadu notices deep gashes on her abdomen and scrapes them, giggling mischievously. Poor Hakurei yelps in pain and then frowns at an amused dragon kid. Instantly, she throws him away on the ground. Relationship status: it's complicated. He begins to get chills and demands she take him back. She flatly refuses on his face and points out that if it weren't for him, she wouldn't have bothered to come to such a cold and dreary place like this in the first place. Hakurei: if only I had listened to that handsome tiger, we would have vacationed in the Bahamas. Soon, they move here and there looking for an answer about how to achieve longevity. They seek advice from a leopard, who mentions that the key to longevity is having good hunting skills, so that there is no shortage of food. Another creature advises them to find safe places to sleep and hide. Meanwhile, Hekadu's safe place is anywhere with snacks. According to some vigilant hawk, if one has the speed to survive their enemies, then they will live longer. A lunatic bear refuses to speak until he is fed upon some dragon meat. Hekadu is so mad at him that he chases him off hysterically. What do you expect? Senseless creatures asking advice from even more nonsensical ones. After that, he returns to the cozy lap of Hakurei and buries his face. He is quite frustrated because he still hasn't found the answer he is looking for. Then they find a bizarre one-eyed old man who lives with the monkey clan. When in doubt, always trust the guy who looks like he's lost 3 lives already. He feels quite honored to meet a dragon in such an isolated region. He welcomes them and encourages them to ask as many questions as they want. He is astonished that Hekadu wants to know about the secret of a very long life because usually dragons do enjoy longevity. Bro, dragons come with extra lives like a video game. He explains that he is interested in Hakurei. The old man proclaims wisely that each creature will live to their own predetermined span, and changing that fact will be quite impossible. An agitated Hekadu mentions that to know the impossible, they have traveled to this remote region. Because Google Maps doesn't cover immortality quest routes yet, soon he signals some monkeys, and in no time, they bring 2 filled cups in front of them. When Hekido expresses curiosity about those cryptic drinks, the old man explains that it is made up of fermented fruits. He claims that by drinking it, he will feel energized and warm. Translation: it's jungle wine, and it will punch your brain cells. He also offers them dried deer meat for a meat lover like Hekido. He has also gotten a special sleeping area for the duo with hay beds lined with cow fur, and a cozy hole insulated from the outside cold. When both Hekido and Hakurai express confusion, the old man reveals that he is providing them treats in order to celebrate the honorable moment of meeting a dragon. Honestly, it's giving free samples at Shady Mall kiosks vibes. Hekido smells a big fish, so he instantly refuses, but the old man points at Hakurai, who is already drinking that creepy liquid from the cup. Hekido reprimands her for showing impatience. However, she explains that the drink tastes amazing. Spoiler: if it tastes that good, it's either super toxic or about to knock you out. The old man lauds her excellent taste for finding the drink delicious. He claims that he hasn't poisoned it or anything. Very cautiously, Hekido picks up his drink and slurps it a bit. This is how all Netflix horror movies start, by the way. Now he is quite puzzled about its taste and doesn't remark. The old man stares at him queerly and then reveals that when one talks about longevity, it is rumored that a dragon's heart contributes a lot to extending one's life. He then tells them a story about a monkey who ate a dragon's heart and then died within a matter of days. Moral of the story: free meals come with hidden charges. Hekido appears shocked, but the old man continues that a wolf who ate that monkey also suffered the same fate. He believes that the dragon's heart is venomous, so it can never make one immortal. As night falls, a sleepless Hekido lies on his bed, staring aimlessly at the ceiling, probably regretting every life choice up till this point. He turns around and finds Hakurai sleeping peacefully on the other bed. He suddenly feels hot all over, and then a soft furry tail slides over his hand. To his alarm, Hakurai stoops on him dizzily and declares that she wants something from him. Oops, it's the drink. It was indeed spiked. To his astonishment, she bares his chest and then touches it. She tipsily claims that she wants his heart. Instantly, with her sharp talons, she makes a big cut on his chest. First date vibes. Extreme edition. In a shocking revelation, the whole scene around him changes, and it appears that he has been tied with ropes from all ends, and the creepy old man is all over him, threatening him with a knife. The old man carves his chest with that knife and claims that he always wanted to see a dragon's heart. An infuriated Hekido transforms into a beast and wriggles violently to attack the slimy old man. Oops, he woke up at a DI=Y open heart surgery party. He roars fiercely on his face, trying to rip off his shackles. The old man warns him that if he continues to retaliate like this, then he will suffocate himself. Hekido helplessly slumps on the ground and feebly looks at Hakurai, who is peacefully enjoying her slumber. That woman can sleep through anything. The old man begins his endeavors again by carrying the knife, as he wants to find out whether the poison already exists in a dragon's heart or is produced after their death. Poor Hekido wails in agony as the pointed knife stabs his chest. Suddenly, there is a refreshing flap of giant wings, and in no time, Shinsui appears, kicking the old man in his face. Shinsui is out here speedrunning hero entrance like a boss. In no time, she wards off all the cheeky underlings and stands in front of Hekido. Very confidently, she declares that she will be taking the dragon from now on. Dragon rescue? More like dragon repossession.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away. Had to find the person